Welcome back to Your American Story. This is your host, Raja, and joining me right now is Dr. Urmi Ashar, who's President and CEO of Advanced Technology Healthcare Solutions. This firm is a bioanalytics company specializing in genomics-based human-drug interaction testing and analysis. Urmi is an internationally recognized thought leader who uses insights derived from the study of medicine, science, education, and business. She earned her MBA from the University of Colorado and her MD from KEM Hospital and University of Mumbai Seth GS Medical College. Urmi will be pitching to our three investors. And ladies and gentlemen, you met our investors in the prior episode. We have Ned Renzi, founding partner of Birchmere Ventures and Birchmere Labs. Jim Jordan, Vice President and Chief Investment Officer of Pittsburgh Life Sciences Greenhouse. And Mike Stubler, Managing Director and co-founder of Draper Triangle Ventures. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the format. Urmi will start off with a 4-minute to our three investors. After that, each of our judges will ask questions. Each judge investor will get 3 minutes to use as they choose, either to provide feedback or ask questions. And the responses from the entrepreneur will be included in this 3-minute segment. After the judges' segments, Urmi will have 1 minute to make a closing statement. Daryl Grandy, our radio producer, will let us know when we have a minute left and hold a red flag when time's up. Urmi, welcome, and judges, welcome. Urmi, you have 3 minutes. Please proceed. 4 minutes. Please proceed.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Very well. Good, thanks.
As you heard, I'm a physician as well as the CEO of Advanced Technology Healthcare Solutions. Did you know every day 4,000 people get admitted due to serious reaction to their medications? These harmful reactions happen because of the drugs that they are prescribed. Drugs, while they help heal us, also have the capacity to create a lot of serious harm. These reactions are called adverse drug reactions. In fact, adverse drug reactions are the 4th leading cause of death in the United States. And these adverse drug reactions can happen to any one of us. The probability of this increases dramatically if you take more than 3 medications on a daily basis. And to give you some perspective, an average American on the other side of 50 takes at least 4 to 9 medications daily. In the United States, we prescribe 4 billion medications on a yearly basis. And that translates to 350,000 prescriptions on a monthly basis. Suffice it to say, the problem is huge. Our company has developed a simple test to help you avoid the problems of adverse drug reactions. We recognize that we are all different, and some of our differences, especially our genetic differences, translate into how we react to drugs as individuals. Thus, we need to tailor medicine, and this tailoring is important to get the best outcomes from your treatment. We have developed a simple, unique, and cost-effective way to help you get your doctor to give you the right drug at the right dose just for you. When you order our test, we will collect your saliva sample and details of your clinical and personal data. We analyze your genetic data from your saliva sample and then marry it with your clinical and personal data against validated and curated scientific knowledge to provide you with a report. Information on our report gives you and your doctor insights into what drugs to avoid, drugs whose dosage needs close monitoring and dosage modification, what alternative drugs should you be considering in case you have those red flag drugs that you absolutely need to avoid. Thus, it will help you and your physicians to make better medicine choices for you. We will enter the market in 2 phases. The first product we release is geared specifically and tailored for the senior market on the, for over the age of 50. This population is expected to grow from 60 million today to 108 million by the year 2030. And the second phase, we will be releasing a pediatric product for children under the age of 18. That population today stands at 74 million. and will grow to 80 million by the year 2030. No other company has focused on these two market segments specifically. The market opportunity for our product is to the tune of $3 billion only in the United States. The company is projected to generate $5 million in revenues with break-even after the first year of market launch. The revenue is projected to grow to $33 million after the first 4 years of operations. We need to raise $3 to $5 million to build the company for an exit within 5 years at a multiple of 7 to 10x. We currently seek to raise $500,000 to build out our software product in the form of convertible notes with a 10% discount towards our Series A. The funds will be used to finalize our software build and conduct several pilot tests to expand our key strategic relationships. Thus, ATHS is an early-stage company and perfectly positioned to take advantage of the move towards individualized healthcare.
Thank you, Urmi. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from Dr. Urmi Ashar, President and CEO of Advanced Technology Healthcare Solutions, and she just pitched to our 3 investors in our Running with the Bulls contest that we are doing in conjunction with Pittsburgh Life Sciences Greenhouse. Our first investor is Ned Renzi. So Ned, I turn this over to you.
Hi, Urmi.
Hello.
Thank you. One question I actually had was related to the name of the product. So I noticed in a lot of background, what fascinated me is that your test has the potential to make the medicines more effective and sort of almost personalized. In the name of the product, you chose to choose it My Safe Meds versus My Effective Meds or something else. Maybe you just talk a little bit about how you named it and what the value proposition is.
So a couple of things emerged for us when we did our primary focus group research. And what emerged was people were really, really concerned about not taking medications that actually harmed them more rather than just being effective. And the second thing that emerged was the effectiveness of drugs, because believe it or not, we are headed towards a world where the high deductible medical insurance plans are going to be the norm. And if people are now paying out of their own pockets for drugs, they do want to make sure that they're not going to land in a bigger problem than the one that they are currently dealing with. And then the second thing that they face with is, if I'm going to pay and buy those expensive medications, will that really be helpful to me? So based on the feedback, we chose My Safe Meds.
Oh, very interesting. Thanks. One quick question I had was related to the speed of the test. So somebody will submit a saliva sample and you're going to run the test and report. How long does that process take?
So the turnaround time is 2 weeks. And ideally speaking, the physicians, especially when we interviewed the physicians, what we were provided was that they would actually prefer it to be used as a baseline testing. So when a certain person reaches over the age of 45, when we start seeing problems like prediabetes, hypertension, they would like to start recommending this test. And so if it is used as a baseline test, that information is already on their files. And that way, they don't have to deal with the turnaround time issue because they already have that information.
Sure. And one question I had was related to international markets, because a lot of international markets have more homogeneous sort of genetic pools. And some other companies in the space have released somewhat similar products for perhaps different application. And there's very different laws in every country. So what's your plans internationally?
So we have already filed for patents that are not just related to the domestic market, but also international market. Once we are successful in the United States market, we do have plans to go internationally. And when we are ready for that stage, we are definitely going to take a deep dive and figure out which market will we enter, whether it's Europe or one of the Asian populations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ned. At this point, I'll turn this over to Jim Jordan from Pittsburgh Life Sciences Greenhouse.
Continuing on with the market need, I seem to recall that there was a list from the FDA of a certain number of drugs that they were specifically concerned about. Does your product address those, and how many are there?
Yes. At present, there are 158 drugs that already have a black box warning, and we plan on starting with those drugs. We have actually tiered the 158 drugs in a manner which kind of identifies what are the common problems for the senior population. And we start off with those drugs, but over time, in a tiered fashion, we are going to be covering all the 158 drugs. And this science is advancing so rapidly that pretty much we expect within the next 3 years, we will have more information of over 300 plus drugs.
Can you just expand on what a black box warning means?
So black box warning is, when we get medications, there is information about what side effects to be aware of. And in those 158 drugs, there is actually specific warning about if you have a certain genetic profile or a certain genetic makeup, then you need to either get dosage modifications or close monitoring, or for some populations, you absolutely need to avoid those drugs.
So does that motivate the customer more? I mean, when I'm thinking of this, I get a black box warning. It's telling me I better know my genetic profile. Will the physician be promoting this for you, or how?
So the way we plan on approaching the market is we absolutely know that at this particular point in time, the patient will be paying out of pocket, but the physician will be recommending the test. So how we want to approach it is we start off with the geriatric practitioners, and I don't know if you're familiar with the concierge medicine practice. It has really expanded rapidly. And we will be starting with developing a referral network with that population first. And the other aspect we'll be doing is, over time, we'll be building an internet presence and the traditional marketing channels too. So if a customer, say, Jim, you are our customer and you come in and request the product, we will ask for your physician referral, and we will revert back and arrange an education program for your physician so that your physician can actually use the product effectively with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. At this point, I'll turn this over to Mike Stubler.
Thank you. Urmi, my partners and I, several years ago, actually looked very hard at one of the competitors that you named, a company from Cincinnati called AssureRx, who was, at the time, focused on mental health, mental illness, mainly in children. I think maybe they've expanded that now a little bit, but we kind of missed that one. It was ultimately funded by Sequoia Capital.
Yeah.
And one of the questions I have is that they're much more focused. They're just in mental health, helping physicians prescribe the right treatment for children and in psychiatric drugs. You're taking a much broader view on it. Could you just comment on that a little bit?
Yes, AssureRx is focused on psychotropic drugs, and it still is continuing that same focus and emphasis. And it has partnered with Mayo Clinic, and it's in a closed-loop system. It is not in the direct-to-consumer approach. And their business model is for every one that they get reimbursed for, they have to write off pretty much 4 or 5 tests that they provide. But we, on the other hand, kind of decided that for wider acceptance, we have to target a population that is feeling the pain acutely out of their own pocket. And from that perspective, then we had to focus on clinically what avenues are the most painful for the customers. And we know that the cardiovascular drugs are really a huge issue, especially anti-clotting drugs, the CNS drugs. And we went about doing our clinical analysis and genetic analysis to find out, did we have a broad enough swath to offer a good value proposition? And we landed on that, and we have solved the cost problem for the broad panel.
I guess that would explain maybe if they're writing off 4 for every one they get, why they had to raise $50 million. I guess that it was an expensive proposition.
Yes, and what we see is in our business model, we see the key is speed to market. We want to really define that niche population and get early penetration. In some sense, to borrow a phrase from the technology market, it's the Instagram or the WhatsApp model. The more users we have, the better the barrier to entry for the others.
Are there other examples of services like this that have been marketed direct to patients that you can point to, other examples that?
So in the genetic and drug-based interaction, there isn't any direct-to-consumer-based approach, and that is what is pretty much keeping the costs very high. I mean, most of the other competitors have their cost over $3,500, versus our test is going to be lower. And but I will take, the broader genomic market. Example, 23andMe was able to dramatically drive costs down when, all their other competitors were still playing in the field of 3,000 plus up.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. And ladies and gentlemen, if any of you ever thought of starting a business, one of the things that you would need to do is to go raise money. And you've sort of seen what actually happens, the real questions that real investors ask real entrepreneurs. At this point, Urmi, I'm going to turn this over to you for a 1-minute close.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I'm going to, take the cue from you, Mike, that you mentioned that you missed the cue on Assure RX. I would like to meet you offline and have a conversation. To summarize, ATHS's product, MySafe Meds, uses a simple genetic test based off your saliva sample to help you engage your physician for personalized care for you. The report provides insights to enable your doctor to tailor your medical prescriptions to your individual needs so your medications are effective and reduce the risk of adverse drug reactions. The market opportunity is $3 billion in the United States alone. We start generating revenue within the first year of operation to break even within the first year of market launch. The company is projected to grow to a value of a multiple of 7 to 10x within 4 years. And we are currently seeking $500,000 in convertible notes. Thank you.
Thank you, Urmi. Thank you, investors. And ladies and gentlemen, our investors and entrepreneurs create jobs, and they make an impact on the region. And you too can make an impact. If you liked what Dr. Urmi Ashar had to say, you can go and cast your vote for her. You can go to Your American Story, and the voting starts at 4 p.m. today. You can go cast your vote for her, and she would, if you want her to win the audience award, which not only gets the award but $2,500 cash. Urmi, thanks again. Investors, thank you. At this point, we're going to a commercial break. This is your host Raja, and I'll be right back.
Thank you.